Diana tries its hand in budget PCPville. Coming up. AEAC is made possible by JSB Match Diablo, H&N Sport, Predator International, Air Arms, Crossman Corporation, Daystate, FX Airguns, Sports Match Rings UK, Rapid Air Weapons, and Aztec Optics. And you guys know the best way to thank them. Alright guys, the Stormrider comes to us from Germany. It's available in 177 and 22. It measures just 38.5 inches long. It weighs in at a feathery 6 pounds to include a scope, mounts, a cylinder filled with air, and a magazine full of lead. It ships with a magnetic single shot tray and a 7-shot rotary mag. Comes in beechwood only, and you can pick one up at Pyramid Air for around $200. Now fill the Stormrider's 100cc reservoir to around 175 bar, and you'll enjoy 12 good shots with an extreme spread of 29 feet per second. Now if you want to ride that curve on all the way out, fill it to its 200 bar max, and you'll enjoy 34 shots with an extreme spread of 131 feet per second. Now power comes in at 22 to 25 foot-pounds, which it accomplishes by pushing a 15.89 grain pellet to an average of 796 feet per second across the 34, or 845 feet per second across the 12. Now the Stormrider also takes advantage of a baffled muzzle brake, adjustable sights, an 11mm scope rail, a single stage non-adjustable trigger with manual safety, a manometer, and a lightly checkered ambidextrous beechwood stock. So how does it stack up? Well, let's take a closer look and find out. With the Benjamin Maximus and Beam & Chief reigning supreme in the $200 PCP segment, Diana takes a run at him with its magazine-fed Stormrider. Its classic lines and seemingly higher grade of finish would have you thinking it's destined to rule this segment. And with the addition of its single shot tray and baffled muzzle brake, for some, it will. But with the rifles in this class, it's going to be a game of give and take. And you're just going to have to choose what's most important to you. The Stormrider and Maximus are the lightweights of the three, and may be better suited towards youthful shooters. And the Stormrider by far has the slickest and easiest rearward cocking. But the Maximus and Chief may prove more rugged with their more forward-mounted barrel bands. Bump the muzzle on the Stormrider and you may find yourself having to re-sight in. Cycling the Stormrider takes a back seat to the other two, but just barely. And I realize that taking this position comes across as awkward as the Maximus and Chief don't have a magazine. But all three of them have extra large mouth parts that can make them get a little jammy unless you find just the right pellet. The triple hiccup you just heard as I cycled the bolt forward was the pellet trying to find its way out of the magazine, over the barrel O-ring, and into the breech. And while the Stormrider gets the nod for its repeating action and faster reloading, the Maximus and the Chief are more accurate. But the Stormrider is certainly accurate enough to be a good hunter out to 50 yards, and in my time with it, consistently grouped at about an inch 9 out of 10 times. 25-yard groups ran consistently at 3/4 of an inch. But finding the pellet yours will like best is key. More on that in a minute. Filling the Stormrider's 100cc tank is super easy, and because of its smaller size, and that it only needs about 175 bar to perform, it ought to get along really well with your favorite hand pump too. Fill to no more than 200 bar. That's all there is to it. I tried most every known pellet through the Stormrider, and I shared my findings on Facebook. You can follow AEAC there for the process leading up to each one of these video reviews. And to the 4,181 of you who do, thank you. I enjoy your company. The verdict on the magazine is that I found one pellet that plays nice with it 9 out of 10 times reliably. And that's the JSBRS you see here. Everything else would hard feed or jam 3 in 10 times. And using the single shot tray wasn't able to improve this or accuracy. Speaking of which, Pyramid Air was cool enough to send along this 3-12 by 32 mini SWAT mil.bugbuster scope, and they ain't getting it back. Thanks, Tyler. I'm sure you understand. I experienced some barrel droop in my week with the Stormrider, and I don't know if it's on account of the Bugbuster or if it's just inherent to this rifle's design. What I do know is that I didn't experience this in my review of the Chief or the Maximus, and I'd love to hear from you guys on the topic. If you've any experience on the matter, please let me know in the comments below. And if you find your point of impact wandering at 25 and 50 yards, don't automatically think you got a bad rifle. Check to see if your elevation turret's maxed out, and if it is, just place a business card or two between the scope and the rear scope mount. And that ought to fix you right up. It did me. The Stormrider's trigger and manual safety aren't anything to get too excited about, but there's nothing here that'll make you mad at them either. It's a pretty light and simple single stage ordeal. £2, 7 ounces. Diana tells us that the Stormrider has baffles inside of its muzzle brake, but it's still got a pretty good snap to it. Now, I've been shooting it in my backyard all week and haven't had any problems, so it's not like it's that big a deal. When you cycle the Stormrider, do it like this. Keeping your forward motion linear will help the pellet into the breech as smoothly as possible, resulting in better accuracy and less cocking resistance. And it'll keep your bolt arm from unscrewing on you as much too. Power on the Stormrider is good, and at around 25 foot-pounds max, puts it on par with the other two. And usable shot count across the three is pretty similar. As for triggers, I like the Maximus best, followed by the Stormrider, and then the Chief. The Maximus offers a single stage that feels like a dual stage. The Stormrider's single stage is smooth and light, and works almost as well. And you guys already know how I feel about the QB78 trigger that comes in the Chief. It's adjustable and can clean up really nice, but out of the box it's rougher than a cob. It's like I said, guys, it's going to be a game of give and take. All three of them are great fun and have their virtues, but Mr. Stormrider here is the most handsome and gets you shooting on a mag. Well, that's all for today, guys. Now do me a favor if you can. Pyramid Air got the Stormrider into my hands to review for you, and if we want to keep them encouraged to keep sending product our way, please, if you're thinking about picking one up, think of those guys first. Now from here you want to head on over to the Airgun Nation forum and see Michael, so you can participate in the discussion thread on the Stormrider. I'll leave you links on how to get there in the description down below. As for me, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, tell all your friends about us, and be sure and check us out on Facebook and Instagram for behind the scenes pictures and information. I'll share things there that won't make it onto YouTube, and you won't want to miss out. So with that, I'm Steve Shalley. I really appreciate you watching, and have a great New Year, everyone.